Good evening and welcome to Anupali. Thank you for spending another Sunday evening with me. I am happy to make this time to be with you every week because it is important to share with you and hear your views as we forge ahead with the business of governance. This is your time to weigh in on the issues that affect your lives directly and share your recommendations with me on how best we can tackle the everyday challenges we face in the management of the state. First, let me take the opportunity to congratulate the newly re-elected Prime Minister of Barbados, Honorable Mia Amor Motley, on the party's decisive win in last Wednesday's general elections. For the second straight election, the Barbados Labour Party won with a clean sweep of the 30 seats in the parliament. In the midst of a pandemic, this is a sure sign that the people of Barbados hold Ms. Motley in high esteem and are confident of her party's ability to effectively lead the country during these challenging times. Barbados, like every other country, needs strong leadership at this time, which is proven and tested. I believe the people of Barbados understood that the task of economic recovery following the impact of COVID-19 could only be entrusted to a proven, capable leader. They have reposed confidence in Ms. Motley and her team, and I wish her well as she continues the work of leading Barbados through this pandemic. Here at home, a number of issues continue to preoccupy us, especially as we are experiencing a surge in COVID-19 cases. I believe there is a need to start defining what it means to live with COVID-19. It is a safe bet that the virus will be with us for a while longer. How then do we continue with our everyday activities while taking the necessary steps to protect ourselves? The government of Dominica engages in continuous review of the circumstances surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic and has now taken a further step to open another sector of the economy and re-establish some semblance of normalcy. The government, after intense internal discussions and consultations with industry stakeholders, has approved protocols for special entertainment events. In the first instance, we will look to pilot these protocols as a select number of special events, which will occur between February 20th to March 1st. These events will be open only to fully vaccinated patrons and will be held at two approved venues, the Windsor Park Sports Stadium forecourt and the Old Mill Cultural Center. The Windsor Park Sports Stadium forecourt will be designated as the main event venue to accommodate a maximum of 500 patrons. The Old Mill Cultural Center will be approved for virtual events and cater for up to 200 patrons. All patrons, performers, staff support, including health and security, and vendors at the events shall be fully vaccinated and present a negative antigen test result within a 24-hour period prior to each event. According to the approved guidelines, events shall not exceed a duration of 6 hours, and only one event shall be held per day. There shall be no street jump-ups, no village carnivals, no unauthorized gatherings of groups and troops, and no activities without having first applied for and received a permit. Approved activities are intended to be managed events for vaccinated patrons within a safe zone to ensure the health and safety of patrons and the wider public. On February 28th and March 1st, events are proposed for the forecourt of the Windsor Park Stadium. Both day events will be live, catering for a maximum of 500 patrons and streamed online. On both days, the events will run from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Again, all revelers must be fully vaccinated and show proof of a negative antigen test up to 24 hours before the event. We also anticipate the hosting of various calypso shows to include the Stardom King of the Tent, Mass Camp, Champ of the Camp, and the Grand Calypso Finals. And just to say, as always, the Mighty DBS is my favorite calypsonian. These shows will all be held at the forecourt of the stadium. The popular Rise and Wine and the Lumination Juve are also expected to be on the lineup again, only for fully vaccinated patrons. The requirements for participation and protocols will be made public later this week. However, I will go into some detail this evening. Note that individuals are considered to be fully vaccinated if they have completed both doses of the approved COVID-19 two-dose vaccine regime or have received the single-dose Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. If the vaccine has been approved by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment and the World Health Organization, and if the second dose of vaccine has been received more than 2 weeks prior to travel to Dominica. The approved vaccines are the Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, Sinopharm, Abdala, Soberana, and the Sputnik. The organizers of each event will be required to submit an application seeking authorization to host the event. Details of the application process will be made available to the public for guidance. I must stress here that ticket sales are the responsibility of the event organizers, but tickets should only be sold to patrons upon provision of valid ID, contact details, and proof of vaccination. Ticket holders shall submit proof of vaccination and negative antigen test result from swabs taken 24 hours prior to each event. Proof of vaccination and negative antigen test result shall be validated prior to each event. These guidelines have been developed to provide the directive for the hosting of events during this carnival season and for the foreseeable future. The events planned during the carnival season until March 1 will also serve as a pilot activities, which will provide us all with a template for the hosting of events on a more regular basis. We will be able to assess our successes and take note of our shortfalls so as to improve the organization of future events. Where there are gaps, we'll adjust accordingly to ensure the safety of all patrons and minimize or eliminate completely the threat of COVID-19 spread at events. I must stress our intention to ensure that all protocols and guidelines are adhered to. The Ministry of Health will remain a constant presence at all events to assess the risk and make decisions that are in the best interest of everyone. And as you know, from the start of this pandemic, this government has stressed that our foremost priority was the health and safety of every Dominican. And we have demonstrated this commitment in very clear ways. Free testing has always been available for our citizens, for every citizen. We were among the first countries in our region to make vaccines available for all eligible persons. Every Dominican who wishes to get vaccinated can do so free of cost. And for 2 years running, dedicated care has been provided at COVID-19 facilities in the north of the island and at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. Our management of this virus is unimpeachable, and we have been consistent with our efforts to keep people safe. So no one can question the commitment and the dedication of this government and its management of COVID-19 and the provision of the resources required to provide care to our citizens. However, as the pandemic progresses, we must, as a government, consider all the dynamics and take steps to stop the hemorrhaging of our economy. Many sectors have been severely impacted, including small business activity. And certainly, the livelihoods of our entertainers and artists have been impacted. Their usual sources of revenue have been virtually wiped out. Entertainment is at a standstill. I empathize with our entertainers because I understand the urgent need to practice the craft and return to work. We are pleased that through consultations, we have reached a point where we are able to consider the hosting of these special events. This throws a lifeline to our artists and entertainers. They can look forward to earning regular income again. In very simple terms, they will be able to provide for themselves and their families and, once again, contribute to the economic development of this country. I therefore implore our entertainers to take advantage of this opportunity presented to them to gradually return the industry to normalcy. I am confident that we have developed the safest and most workable approach to the hosting of entertainment events, and I welcome the cooperation of all concerned to ensure our collective success. We can only be successful if we all play our part and be responsible in the process. I must also inform all of you, that we are considering the resumption of sporting activities. We are currently consulting with the relevant sporting organizations, and this will continue as we consider the various proposals before us for organized group sports. And this, I expect, will be finalized by the end of January. In the first instance, however, the Cabinet has approved the hosting of the second OECS Eastern Caribbean Central Bank Netball Tournament. The games were originally scheduled for November 2021, but were postponed due to the sharp rise in COVID-19 positive cases in participating territories. The Dominica Netball Association will host the regional tournament from February 10th to 18th, 2022 at the forecourt of the Windsor Park Stadium. This, I believe, and of course I'm sure all of us believe, is a positive move for sports and for Dominica. I urge all of you to embrace the upcoming games and help to make the tournament a success. Another issue at play is a safe return of our children to physical classroom. I can tell you I empathize with parents. It has not been easy. The benefits of face-to-face learning and instruction go way beyond academic performance. We must also focus on students' social and emotional skills and their mental health. Students need to be able to interact in a safe and stimulating environment to develop their social and cognitive skills. Our schools serve as safe zones for students and as a gateway for other social intervention and support that can only be provided through direct contact and interaction with students. The Ministry of Education has undertaken extensive work in considering the school context as it relates to population, classroom size, and recreation space. Based on these careful assessments, we are confident that we can soon move safely to face-to-face instruction using a phased approach. The Cabinet this coming week will give consideration to a set of guidelines for a blended approach to instruction, which will take effect within the coming weeks. Schools will accommodate students by grade levels based on the overall population size, while adhering to the recommended social distancing requirements. Primary schools with a smaller student population, with adequate classroom space for the stipulated social distancing, will conduct face-to-face instructions from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. for 3 days per week, Mondays to Wednesdays, and online sessions 2 days per week on Thursdays and Fridays. At primary schools, considered medium size with adequate space for the stipulated social distancing protocols, students from grades K to 3 will attend face-to-face sessions 3 days per week, Monday to Wednesday, while students from grade 4 to 6 will attend face-to-face sessions 2 days per week on Thursdays and Fridays. For primary schools considered large, grades 3, 5, and 6 will attend face-to-face sessions 2 days per week, Mondays and Tuesdays, and students from K to grade 2 will attend sessions 2 days per week on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Students of grade 4 will attend face-to-face sessions on Fridays only. Special provisions have been made for the St. Martin Primary School, which has a population of more than 355 students, following discussions with the principal. At the secondary school level, students from each form will attend face-to-face sessions on 1 day per week from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the following schedule will apply. From 5 Mondays, from 4 Tuesdays, from 3 Wednesdays, from 2 Thursdays, and from 1 Fridays. And of course, schools will strategize accordingly to accommodate students so as to ensure appropriate social distancing protocol is observed. In the case of the Dominica Grammar School and the Goodwill Secondary School, the Goodwill Secondary School will also operate a morning shift since space at the Dominica Grammar School permits for such accommodation. The Ministry of Education has prepared a detailed operational manual for the blended education program, as well as guidelines for the safe operations of schools during the COVID-19 pandemic. And these guidelines reinforce the safety and hygiene protocols, as well as procedures for social distancing, temperature checks, and the cleaning of surfaces. The protocols and guidelines will be made available to the public, and an announcement of a firm date for the resumption of face-to-face classes on a phased basis will be made shortly. I commend the officials of the Ministry of Education and the Minister for their hard work on this, and certainly for their efforts over the past 2 years, which guaranteed the continued learning of our children online and in person. These protocols will also allow us to assess and evaluate the implementation in order to make a determination for the total return to face-to-face learning. In the meantime, our teachers, parents, and students are certainly giving of their best in this less than ideal situation. This pandemic continues to highlight the critical importance of teachers in our society. The teacher's role has taken on even greater significance in light of the challenges they have faced during the COVID-19 crisis. I take this opportunity to sincerely commend our teachers and principals for their efforts in the past months to ensure that our children remain engaged. We are fully aware of the pressures they face as they strive to keep students interested and on task. It has not been easy, but they have persevered, and I congratulate our teachers. I thank our school leaders for ensuring continuity of learning and helping to protect the well-being of our children. Our parents, I know, are also having their fair share of challenges and worries over their children's education. I empathize with you and truly look forward to the day, very soon, when we can safely and in good conscience send all our children back to school where they are fully supervised and free to play and learn in the most conducive environment. I only ask that you're patient and that you work with us to achieve this outcome. Trust me, I feel your pain. You know, I understand the challenges that many of you are going through. And of course, our children have proven to be real champions in this situation. And I want each of us to tap our children on the backs and tell them, well done over the last several months. They have been exceptional. I personally worry about their well-being and how they're coping with what could be, for some, an overwhelming situation. Our job as adults is to protect those who are helpless and vulnerable among us. In this case, our children. Let's do our best to overcome and move past this situation so that our children are protected and able to thrive again. And of course, vaccination is important in that process. And I know I have received many WhatsApp messages from daycare owners and parents. And I want to say to you that guidelines for the safe operation of daycare centers will be issued very soon as well. The lines are open. You may call in at 225-3400 or 611-3400 with your questions or comments. And just to say to you on other matters this evening, as you know, I have spoken about the small business loans at the Aid Bank. I can say that come the first week of February, we are expected to see the commencement of these loans, of the applications for these loans. This is expected to help entrepreneurs and boost business and economic activity in our country. You know, and we hope that small business owners will take advantage of this opportunity to reinvigorate their businesses, to ensure continuity and survival in these precarious times. And it is also an opportunity to bring a new business idea to life, to take that first step into business ownership and make a contribution to your personal and professional growth, and of course, to the national development. And I want to say to my friends at the Aid Bank, I appreciate all of you, and you know, this is our country, we are family and friends, so we can speak candidly. Please, as I keep saying, do not send people back and forth. Let's be transparent with this. We make public the criteria, the documents required to apply, and you know, if somebody brings the documents and they have all of the documents, let's be quicker with the processing of these applications so that the monies can get into people's hands and into the economy in a quick fashion. So let us not keep sending people back for this document that you never asked us for in the first place. This is Dominica, we know how it goes around, so let us ensure that this thing doesn't happen and so forth. Thank you. We will take your calls. I think they said there's a call on the line. Please, hello? Okay, there's a question from Facebook. Any updates on college and preschool? Of course, the preschools, you know, some of the preschools are in fact part of the primary school system because many of the schools use the primary school facilities. And of course, this week, the Minister for Education will also speak to preschools and also the Dominica State College. We will engage the leadership of the State College this week to finalize the guidelines and the protocols for the State College. But certainly the State College should be able to resume almost completely because, of the way that the school system is structured and so forth. So the State College will also be reopened as well. A caller, please.
Hey, hi there, Brother Prime Minister. How are you?
Greetings, I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, this is your dear and lovely friend Peter Lander from Texas.
Greetings to you. Greetings to you.
Yeah, I wanted to call tonight and to first of all wish you all the best with the family. I hope you and your lovely wife and your two children are doing very well. And I want to again commend you for the Herculean task that you have undertaken as the dear leader. And I also want to let you know about Facebook today. So I won't be tagging you in anything new. So you'll be missing out on some good entertainment.
Sure.
One of the reasons I want to talk to you this evening is I often feel like our people don't have enough self-discipline. We could forgo Carnival for a year or two. And when it comes to Carnival, the African people, the Negro people, when it comes to a fete, we are so passionate and so good at organizing a fete. Okay? And often if you go to the island of Trinidad, they say all the Negro want to do is fete. So I was a little concerned here that with the COVID-19, and if we look at sisterly nations such as China and Hong Kong, where the restrictions are very draconian, what do you think could happen with your lifting of those restrictions and allowing the fete to go on?
Yeah, thank you, caller. You are asking a legitimate question. We have taken all of those things into consideration. There are very clear guidelines, and I'm hoping that certainly the Minister for Tourism will issue a statement, hopefully by Tuesday or so, this week certainly. And she will be able to give, and her staff give further details on the specific guidelines. But I can say to you, and I can say to the nation, I can say to those who are maybe have some concerns over the activities that we're proposing, that we have taken all of those into consideration. And I believe it's important for us to recognize too that there's a group of people in our society who rely on the entertainment industry for their survival. And I think we have to be empathetic in that regard. So the idea is to find a responsible balance, as we've always done as a government, between the COVID management imperatives and also livelihoods. And this is where we are. I appreciate very much the point that you've raised, and I know that there are many people in the society who share that view. But I can assure them that we have taken their concerns into consideration in arriving at the guidelines and the protocols for the hosting of special events in Dominica. Is there a call-up? Yes, please. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Welcome.
Hi, good evening. My name is Esther. Prime Minister, I see you haven't said anything in regards to the preschool and the daycare.
Yeah.
And also you said for the grade K you'll be doing Thursdays and Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to this, when the COVID had to first take a bloom, the schools had done a very awesome job in terms of keeping the children protected. Parents also did a good job. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it is really a strain on the parents being honest. I am a parent myself, and I'm telling you, with work and trying to also teach your child, even if the teachers are doing it online, but the parents have to be able to do everything with that child, plus do work, still come back with other things. Sometimes the child work doesn't even get done, and you have to submit it for the child to get a grade.
Yeah.
You still also have the preschoolers. I have a preschooler myself, and my child is suffering because there are things that I cannot teach him, and there are things that he needs to sit down in a class with a teacher to teach him or to see his other peers in order for him to mature into that level he should be at age. Now I understand its protocols and everything. Look at St. Lucia, for example. I don't want to compare countries. But they did open in regards to for school, especially for those levels of children that need it. The other bigger children, the parents don't really have to be at them 24/7 for them to sit online. But that is too much for those younger children.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, my friend. There's no argument on my point there. I agree with you. As recognized that we were the first country in the Caribbean last year, I believe, in 2020, to open schools. And we ran schools for an entire school year with no incident whatsoever. You're correct. The government did in fact put some guidance in place, and we had hygiene wardens in there cleaning the schools. We provided the bus drivers, the school bus drivers with supplies. We trained them. So we had a comprehensive program, and ensured that this happened. We have to put where we are now in context as to why it is that we did not start in September with face-to-face classes. We had a surge in the country, and I think it would have been irresponsible on my part as Prime Minister to authorize for students to go back to school in the middle of a surge, and when virtually every community in Dominica was impacted by this surge. Now we're coming in to the new year, the school term. Clearly, we couldn't have started in January because there was also a surge after the Christmas, the New Year celebrations in Dominica, where virtually every village in Dominica, COVID was present. And with this new Omicron, one did not know how to react to it, and of course the Delta was very very serious. So you had those issues. what we're saying to us now in Dominica, take into consideration all of your points, because the reason why we're talking about reopening school face-to-face come February is because of the very concerns that you expressed, my friend. So we're not arguing at all. So my view is, let us start with having it on a scheduled basis, in a phased basis. If we start in February, which I am confident that we can, and I am saying that we should start going back to school face-to-face in February of this year, let us see what the month of February brings for us, and to see whether come March we can have every child go to school every day of the week. So I think let's take it step by step. I think this is progress we're making, and we have developed some very comprehensive guidelines and a manual that would guide every stakeholder. So how should the student behave? How should the parent behave? How should the school bus driver behave? How should the teachers behave? And what part all of them would need to play to ensure the success of this. So I am with you on this. I have the same anxieties that you have. As you know, my ears are on the ground in Dominica, so I know what people say, I know what people leave and the circumstance. And so this is why I really want to push this as the Prime Minister, and let us get back to school in February and take it from there. But I think it's a good start. I think let's do it on a phased basis, and once the month of February would have passed, we would see where we stand on this and get back face to face. But I understand the challenge that you have, my friend, and there are many parents across Dominica who have the same challenge. Any callers? No. I just want to say to some of us too that I know in this society people are talking about why don't we just open up everything and let everything go back to normal as they were prior to COVID-19. And I know people are referencing the United Kingdom, for example. I agree with the actions being taken by the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. The only thing I have difference maybe with regards to the wearing of the face mask. But generally, I agree with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. But the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is taking decisions based on the circumstance of the United Kingdom. But let's look at the vaccination rate of the United Kingdom. The vaccination rate of the United Kingdom is at 75%. And people are also referencing Spain, and Spain having taken actions. Yes, your caller on the line? Let's take a caller, please. Hello, caller, please.
Hello?
Hi, good evening. Welcome.
Yes, good evening.
Go ahead, please. I'm here with you.
Yeah, I'm calling, yes, because I had a problem in Dominica when I traveled in November. I was back in December, and I'm calling.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any other person, and I said I have to call that program so I can speak out my mind.
Yeah.
When something is wrong, it is wrong, and when something is right, it is right. I was in Dominica. I came to Dominica because my mother at 104 was sick with COVID, and I came down to visit. I rushed down. I just didn't want anything. I said, Mama, please wait for me. I thought my mother was dying. So I went down around Independence. To be honest, I did not even know you had to have a permit to travel with crabback at that time. When I was leaving Dominica, I had 4 crabbacks. And that 4 crabbacks, the lady said to me when I was at the scanning place, yes, they told me if I have crabbacks. I said yes. So she told me if I have a permit. I was honest, and I said no. So then the other officer said he has to call forestry. So I said, okay, still thinking, well, it's just a simple thing. So they asked me to go through. I went. Nothing was detected. I was fine, and I went through. And I sat in the lawn. I was there talking to a girl, giving all kind of jokes, and then we were laughing. So when they called for us to leave now, to get our boarding pass, I got a permit to go so that they can. The security officer telling me I can't get on the plane because I'm reprimanded. I said, reprimanded for what? He tell me, yes, I had the 4 crabbacks and I have to go back to the thing. Anyway, I still think that I thought it was a small thing. I followed, I obeyed, and I went with him. Then he said to me, forestry has to come. I said, how long is it going to take because the flight is leaving in 25 minutes. He told me I must be forestry. I screamed and I cried. I cried. I told him, man, I came to see my mother at 104. You haven't got the conscience. Fuck her back. Everybody said to me, I'll get on the plane. You'll get on the plane. Don't cry. When the plane left, I went on the floor. I kneeled on my scream and I cried. I tell him, man, that's what you did to me. PM, I had to buy 4 tickets. My last ticket was $1,100 to get to the US.
Yeah.
And I want somebody to tell me if that was fair. Not one person that apologized to me. As I said, for fuck her back. Somebody had to come from Roosevelt to get fuck her back to the airport. And the officer told me he had to press the cabbage to pick up somebody for fuck her back.
Yeah. All right.
Somebody told me this is right.
All right, my friend. I got your point. I'm satisfied that that Granny will live for modern Mapam will live 28 years old. I know Granny is still very strong, and I want to wish her well. But I understand your concerns. The reality is that is the law, and the law has been in place for several decades. What I believe that we may need to do in the Parliament, in the Cabinet, and of course the Parliament, is to look at amending the law to allow for crabback to be taken out of the country during the hunting season. You know, so we have the hunting season. People are allowed to hunt for crabs and to consume crabs because a lot of Dominicans and non-Dominicans love it, and I think Dominica we make the best crabbacks in the world, and I think we need to look at a way of taking advantage of that of the delicacy we have, and of course an opportunity for those who make a crabback and so on. So it's something I'm going to be advancing to amend the law to allow for one to be able to take crabback out of the country during the festive season when we have the hunting. And Madam Speaker is listening. I'm sure she has been advocating for the complete removal of this or reorienting of the time frame for the hunting season. And she has I agree with her scientific explanation on this. But certainly I understand your frustration, but the reality is that's the law. That's how the law has been for a very long time, for decades, and I think we may need to look at amending it, especially during the festive season when we allow for the hunting of crabs. Caller, please.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I was speaking to you, but the call had dropped. I didn't hear what you said in regards to the daycare and the preschool.
Yeah, I said the daycare and preschools, the protocols and guidance for this will also be announced this week.
Okay, awesome.
So we're hoping that the reopening of daycares and preschool will coincide with the reopening of secondary and primary schools as well. Okay? Sorry, yes, okay? Yeah, so daycare and preschools, the reopening of those two facilities will coincide with secondary and primary schools as well. So and we'll articulate and we'll share with the stakeholders the protocols. And I was making the point earlier about the actions in Spain, and I know some Dominicans reference Spain and reference the United Kingdom, but the vaccination rate in Spain is 87%. You know, 87%. And in Dominica, it's just about 50%. So something has to give, you know. If we want to get to where the United Kingdom is, then we certainly have to dramatically increase the vaccination rates in Dominica. And how do we go about doing this? By those of us who are not vaccinated, getting vaccinated. It's simple maths, simple actions. So, and I am open to moving in the direction of the United Kingdom. But I cannot appear to be irresponsible because I'm looking at the Dominican circumstance. This is why we have to take things step by step, because, you know, at the end of the day, everything that goes wrong in the country, you know, they blame me for it, you know, and I don't run away from responsibility, but I have to make sure that the actions that we take, you know, that we are not being reckless in our approach to taking these things. And we understand the concerns of stakeholders, of people who've been affected. And as you see, as we go along, we are we're restricting, we're lifting restrictions as we go along. Yes, caller, please. Hello? Hi.
Hello, good evening, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Minister. No, there is something I really need, and I would like to see it happen, please.
Sure.
We have a Dominica bridge.
Yeah.
Since in the time of the Petit Tavern business there, we have the Dominica bridge. And to be honest, this bridge is not a proper bridge that joins Lapley, Daly, Dominica, Lawrence, Victoria. And we're really in need of that bridge because, to be honest, if you have to go down there and one day that river come collapse, that bridge collapse, many things.
Well, let's not call for the bridge to collapse. I mean, so far it's getting across to Dominica and Daly's. So I don't think we should call for it to collapse, but I understand the point you're making, you know, but I want to advise you to call for it to collapse or say that one day it will collapse. Go ahead, please. You go on. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. As you know, the construction of the Bailey Bridge there was very difficult, you know, very, very difficult. It was not an easy task, and building the bridge that you're talking about is also will be equally challenging. I went there many times, as you know, with the engineers and to look at even new places to locate the bridge, and all the places we've gone along this river was equally challenging or more challenging, you know. So I understand what you're saying, but you know, I think so far it's helping us get across, and it's something that is on the government's agenda to address for the long term. Yes, caller, please.
Hello, blessed Sunday to you.
Greetings to you, my friend. God bless.
Okay, I'm asking, when will you be visiting Atkinson? We've been waiting for you for a while now.
I know. I will come there. I know I have one particular issue to deal with in Atkinson, which is the housing issue. Yeah, I know we are proceeding with acquiring some land. I had been in touch with. I have not been in touch recently with the chairman, but certainly I've been in touch with him. He was out of the country at the time, and I'm working with the power rep on the Ministry of Housing on this. But this is a commitment I really need to keep to the people of Atkinson on the housing.
Oh yes, you really need to do that.
So I am confident I'll come to you very soon. So maybe early February, God's willing. Okay. And I will ensure I come to visit you personally.
Okay, I'll take your word for that. Yeah?
Please take my word for that, my friend. Thank you very much. God bless you. And I want to say to you that I know sometimes a lot is happening in the Caligo territory and not many things happening in Atkinson. And I know that there is always this issue there, and quite rightly so. But I know housing is a major concern there for you. And we have the names of some of the urgent cases. Some of the names came through the council. And it's something that will certainly give effect to very soon. Caller, please.
Hello, good day.
Hi.
Hi. Prime Minister, I have 2 points to bring across to you.
Please.
When I'm done, then I will hang up so that you can speak.
Okay.
The first point, right, in regards to the NEP.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, NEP is a program for people that need assistance with a job. They can go to this place to get a job. Now, there are a lot of jobs in Dominica that are currently under the NEP program. But the issue with the NEP is that you can't get a loan. It's not recognized like you have a job. You can't do anything with it. It's like you just basically just working for somebody, and it has no value. Now, that is
Lose that caller? I think we need to. Engage on the NEP. I think in some of the positions we may need to give a longer contract rather than the 6 months, especially people under the beautification program. So it's something we need to look at. But one has to understand that this is a transition. It's an in transit job and engagement, and the whole idea behind the NEP is for people to gain experience in the job and to graduate out of it, and so this is what I think people have to start looking at. I know that many people have graduated out of it. Scores of people have gone through the NEP and successfully land permanent jobs in the private and public sectors, and also with their own personal employment. So it's something I caller, please. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Now, in regards to what you are saying there, this is exactly what I know the NEP to be. But there are certain places, for instance, you have the council, people that help do the maintenance. All of these people are on the NEP, so they cannot graduate from that to be in another job. You understand what I'm saying?
They can apply to other places.
Right.
They can apply to other places.
No, but they can apply to other places. But if that is their field and they are at that job, I believe that they should get at least, even if it's a salary slip, or be recognized that is their job, even if they...
I agree with you. I agree with you. So...
The next point I wanted to bring to you.
I can't hear myself, so... No, I can't hear. We need to up the volume, please.
Hello?
Hi, go ahead, please.
Okay, I was telling you, in regards to the hospital,
yes, ma'am.
we have the wardens, we have the doctors, we have nurses, we have everybody, each staff, I should say, they are working on shift, right? At the hospital. Now, we have patients who are admitted on the ward, and they cannot have not one visitor. They cannot do nothing because of the COVID protocols. But we have nurses or wardens that is leaving, hopping on bus, can contract the COVID anyway and come back to work to bring it for somebody. So I don't understand why you cannot have at least one visitor or somebody that you know. Like, for instance, if your mother is on a dying bed, they should allow your mother, even if you take your COVID test, to come to see your mother on a dying bed or to come to bathe a family member of yours. You understand?
I agree with you. I don't think we should mix the issues. I don't think we can compare a nurse and a warded and a doctor to a visitor to the hospital. I don't think we should mix the point because we need them there to care for the patients. I understand you making the point about they're going home too, but that's a risk that can be mitigated again. So I don't think that's a point. I agree with you on the issue of at least allowing one member of the family to be able to go in there to visit the family and to maybe bathe the person or to feed the person or to help out and so forth. I understand that. The challenge you have with this is, as well, in defense of the hospital, is that if you have 80 people at the hospital, that's 80 people you're going to have to come to the hospital every single day. You know what I'm saying? Coming from maybe 80 different homes. You see, and for us to mitigate against the risk of any one of the 80 people bringing COVID-19 into the hospital, they have to be tested prior to the going on. So I think what the hospital may want to do is to look at, let the person say who is the next of kin and who is going to be responsible for coming to see the parents, and maybe not allow you every day, but maybe every other day, because you have to do the testing and you need staff to do the testing. So we should not only look at our own self, but look at the bigger picture, the bigger challenge. Say, if the hospital has 100 people, 100 family members have to come in to see these people, and the implications for that. But I understand entirely the point about at least facilitating someone member of the family to be able to go and see the parent. I know that the hospital is doing that. I know that they're facilitating people, but maybe not the frequency or the number of people that sometimes we would like to have go to the hospital as people who have family members in. But I agree with you entirely, my dear, that we should look at it and look at the protocol and to see how this can be facilitated much better. Okay? Caller, please.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, PM. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad.
Nice to hear.
Yes. I'm calling on behalf of the councillors, but more or less the clerks.
Yes.
I I'm saying that they got an increase from 202, and the salary has been $1,200 up to now. So, I think you could consider them and, give them an increase because everything hard for everybody. So,
yeah,
consider them.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think clerks and all of us recognize that it was under, I believe, when I became Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, that we dramatically increased the salaries of clerks. Clerks would have gotten $200 a month when I came in as Prime Minister, and we engaged them and paid them by the Treasury as opposed to they being paid by the council from the funds that the council received from time to time. So we've come a long way, and I agree with you. The work of the clerks have increased. The responsibility has dramatically increased. They manage a lot of resources on behalf of the government, and so a clerk of 20 years ago is completely different in terms of duties now. And so I'll take note of this. I don't make any promise I cannot keep. But all I can say to you is that I'll take note of this, and I'm sure the Financial Secretary is listening, and she's taking note of that, so we can have a discussion on this and to see what kind of movement we can do, and of course the Chief Personnel Officer and so on. I don't make any promise, but certainly I understand the point that you're making. Thank you. So I want to say to the parents and to all of us that we have to play our part and get ready. For February, I believe we can get back into the classrooms for those students. I am very happy for that and making progress, and I'm hoping that the Cabinet can ratify this week so that the Ministry of Education can give more details on how we're going to go about ensuring the safe return to the classroom, albeit on a blended approach and a phased approach. Yes, caller, please.
Yes, good night.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm actually calling in regard to the World Bank, the emergency World Bank project that's been going on for the past couple of years.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Well, what I've actually found is that we have signed up for this emergency assistance where we are now getting half of the stock, half of the order, and we are being told that the rest is waiting to be distributed, but you got to wait.
Okay,
and then after
you're talking about the agriculture one, yes?
Yes. And after we're being told that there is no stock on island, we got to wait for the next order. So that's confusing. That's confusing me. I don't know if it's confusing all the other farmers, but I'm being confused by that. So I'd like to know what's the position with that whole program.
Well, the program is ongoing. I know the part of the challenge you have is, I understand, it has to do with the procurement of some of the items.
Right.
Yes, some of the items. So there was a delay in this, but certainly the folks at the program are listening, and I'm asking that they provide the public with information to clarify the points that you're raising. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Because we are being told, and not just me, but a lot of people are being told, there is enough stuff for everybody. And when time comes, they're telling you, they're out of stock, they're out of this, they're out of that. And then another thing here.
Yeah.
I'd like to know why, well, I don't know exactly how this organization is operating, but they ask you to provide a set of documents in order for you to get their assistance. And then they come and they tell you that you're getting $5,000 of equipment. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm listening.
Right. Now, for certain equipment, they're taking from that fund that they're giving to you a local price for equipment. The price that they're selling is indomitable ahead. For equipment, is that supposed to be just?
No, I am noting your concerns, my friend. I think you have some legitimate questions that you're asking based on your own circumstance and that which you've heard of others. I have taken note, and certainly the folks on military culture and the implementation unit are following, and no doubt will provide more detailed responses to your concerns. And I will personally follow up with the Ministry of Agriculture and the PIU, the Public Project Implementation Unit, on this, and to ensure that they can provide yourself and the rest of the folks with updated information and clarification on the genuine concerns that you've articulated here on the program. Caller, please.
Good night, PMC.
Hi.
Season greetings.
Same to you.
Trouble tree.
Same to you. Same to you. God bless.
PM, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
The grade 4 children, my 2 children will afternoon school, so I want to know how they're going to school.
In terms of transportation or what?
PM, that is the best place.
I know.
We need that
I recognize your voice, of course, you know. How can I not know
right.
your voice, you know?
Oh, I know you have to recognize your child's voice.
I will give you. I will call you, and you will tell me what your special circumstance. Okay?
Yes, so I want to call it private after this show.
Sure. Okay. God bless you, my dear.
Okay, darling. Thank you very much.
Stay safe. Okay. All right. I just want to say to you that the Hillsborough Bridge, the Liar Bridge, what they call the Liar Bridge, is to be completed in February. This is over $8 million invested at a difficult time to reinstate this bridge. You know, we could have said, you know, we have a bridge coming across the river. Why do a second one and use that $8 million for something else? You know, so I don't hear people telling me that sometimes. You know, I think people could have said, you know, Skerrit, we don't need a second bridge, man. Let's use the money for something else. You know, but that's it. These are the challenges I am faced as Minister of Finance and Prime Minister. You know, huge challenge that we face with. Yes, caller, please.
Yes, good night, PM.
Yes, how are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Pleasure.
That's Basil here.
Of course.
Yes.
We need to talk.
Yes, we need
to talk. Yes.
Yes, very, very much.
Yeah, we have a matter that we need to address.
Yes, thank you.
I'm aware of it. This week I will give you a call so we can address it.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
I have a solution to the problem, so I will share with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
But I agree with your position entirely, okay?
I am in a difficult condition.
All right, good. God bless you.
Yeah.
That's my good friend from Marigot there. Of course, the Jimmick Emergency Center, I believe $18 million from the European Union, funds from the European Union, and we thank our friends from the European Union for their usual generosity. This structure is 100% complete and due to be handed over very soon. So it's a massive structure. Sometimes you're driving on this Jimmick highway and buses and vehicles drive so fast that you don't get to see these big structures. You know, so when you're driving, slow down a bit, you know, and say, "What? Let me see the building Skerrit talking about there," you know, and you will see a massive building. And the State House is a joke compared to this building in terms of size, you know. So just imagine the State House and just imagine that structure, and you can appreciate the investments that we're making in Dominica to build greater resilience in our country. Of course, the Castle Bruce Emergency Center is 80% complete. $13+ million being spent in Castle Bruce, in the village in Dominica, during COVID-19. And my hope and prayer is that people appreciate those investments, you know. And I keep telling people, don't thank me, you know. You thank the Lord because the Lord is the one who giveth and the Lord is the one who taketh away. I am just his instrument here in Dominica carrying out his duties. Yes, caller, please. Hello? I think
hello,
yeah.
Good evening, PM.
Hi. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Well, we have made a couple of times in the past, and I think we need to because I need some feedback on as to what is happening.
Okay.
And I have a very situation that I would need to get out of.
Yeah.
Can you give me a time and date that we can please?
Sure. We will reach out to you. We'll take your number and we'll give you a call so that we can arrange for you to see me. I know you very well and certainly I look forward to speaking to you. Okay? So my staff is listening, so we will certainly reach out to the gentleman. Clearly he has a concern I want to visit me. There's so many places that I need to go, you know, and I will be coming soon. I'll be going to see my friends in Jubic and in Center on Wednesday, God's willing. And also I want to go stop in Pishley and of course in Bacatel. I want to come here to advance the housing project there in Bacatel. And also to meet the fishermen and to see the fish landing site there in Fonseca. And of course, after this, I will come to Roosevelt Central. I need to go to Virgin Lane. We need to address the sidewalks in Virgin Lane. You know, it's in a poor state, and especially as we're going to be opening schools, we need to ensure that we can improve the sidewalks in Virgin Lane. And there are some other interventions, I believe, in other parts of the city that we have to address. River Street, I'll be visiting, and so I look forward to this week visiting those communities and engaging the parliamentary representatives and of course the residents of those communities. So I look forward to that. And of course in Rosa we're hoping that maybe in February, towards the end of February, they can hand over the keys to the recipients of these apartments, and we want to ensure that you can move in well before the Christmas. I know there are concerns raised about the seawall. The seawall is being designed, and the river wall will be constructing the river wall for added safety on this area as well. Is a caller on the line? No? No. So I want to thank you for this. And as I said, with regards to the hosting of events, we are running a pilot, as you recognize. We're using the carnival season. There's no carnival as we know it. So I don't want anybody to get the impression that there is carnival as we know it. There's no street jump up, there's no village carnival. And I want us to cooperate with each other. Let's cooperate, let's work together. If we want to get where we're going to want to get to, we need to cooperate and, you know, and not be indifferent to the concerns of each other. We have to take into consideration all of the concerns, all of the fears, all of the anxieties of the various groups in the society and arrive at a decision that most people can feel comfortable with, if not all. And so let us use these activities as a stepping stone and as a pilot to see and to study the implementation of these activities and to learn from them, where we can do better, where we have done well, so that we can see this going. You know, we may very well have jazz. We may very well have jazz, but it all depends on how we behave, how we react, how we manage the process going forward. And certainly I look forward to welcoming back to Dominica, visitors to Dominica for Creole Festival. But this is down the road. Let us look at the circumstance now, what we want to do. Recognize that for us to get to those activities and the other gigs that entertainers would have in between and the various villages and communities, let us use what we're doing at the Windsor Park and at the Old Mill Cultural Center, you know, as a stepping stone. Let us not be envious and say, well, why don't we have one in this village? Why can we not have it in that village? We'll hear those comments, but let us work together, you know, for us to get to that point. As I said, for example, in New Zealand, the Prime Minister just announced today of stricter measures. The Prime Minister herself was supposed to get married and she had to postpone the wedding because of the circumstance in New Zealand. You understand what I'm saying? So there are countries that have even taken stricter measures because of the prevalence of COVID-19 in the communities and the impact it's having on the health system. So we have to work together towards recognizing this. So as I said, the Minister of Tourism and others will give further details this week. They have engaged stakeholders, and I want to thank the stakeholders, the musicians, the artists, for the service providers for the collaboration. Without you, we would not have gotten to that point. Because we're really doing it for you. You know, we're really doing it for you. And of course, back to school, face-to-face, is a phase basis. Let us look at how it's going. Let us be mindful that we still have 600 plus or 700 plus cases in Dominica. There's still COVID in different communities. We have to be mindful of that. And therefore, we all must take all necessary precautionary measures that have been articulated by the Ministry of Health. And I believe that vaccines work. The vaccines work, so I want to urge us to get vaccinated. It's not mandatory, as we always make it very clear, but it's available and it's free. And secondly, the wearing of masks, very, very important. It must be worn properly. You know, we can't have it below our chin, you know, or below our nose. We have to use it. Go use it for our own safety and for the safety of our family and friends and the wider community. And washing your hands regularly, sanitizing. I know alcohol is expensive. You know, not all of us can buy the volume that we need, but we can wash our hands. If you live in the countryside and you come into town, take a piece of soap, you know, and put it in a little plastic bag, a little ice pop bags, and wherever you see a pipe, you stop and you wash your hands. You know, so we have to make do with what we have and the things that we have access to. But at the end of the day, we cannot be indifferent to the presence of COVID-19 in our country. And so we are with you. We empathize with the stakeholders, the entertainers. We empathize with you. As you recognize, we have always managed the process in a prudent and responsible way. You know, our primary objective is to protect lives. And this government, when the response to COVID-19 would have written, I believe people will give this government high commendation. And we say so with the greatest sense of humility. Greatest sense of humility. But we can't deny the fact that Dominica was one of the first countries in the Caribbean that could test for COVID-19 when COVID appeared in Dominica, in the world. We had the facilities, and our lab was accredited by the CDC and with assistance from PAHO. One of the first countries in the developing world to have access to vaccines. We had vaccines to vaccinate everybody in Dominica. We've had access to vaccines to not only give you the first dose, but the second dose and the third dose. And if the WHO say we can give you a fourth dose, we have enough vaccine to give Dominicans a fourth dose of vaccines. So, and they're free. We have never run out of test kits to the extent that we couldn't test our people. Our supplies have gone low, but we never ran out of test kits. And testing is free. We were paying $20 for one rapid test. I believe now we've been able to negotiate it for a cheaper rate, for $20. And count the number of tests that we have done and multiply it by 52 EC, and you'll appreciate the extent that we have spent. Yes, we've gotten donations from friendly governments and from PAHO, but we have also acquired a significant number of test kits for us. And PCR testing. PCR testing for Dominicans, except if you're traveling, is free of charge. Free. You know, it's free. You know, and we have mobilized human resources. We've mobilized financial resources to treat people who have tested positive. And all of these resources could have been spent in other spheres of the society to help small businesses, to improve the infrastructure. You understand? To pay for the fees for students studying overseas. But we've had to divert these resources to treat COVID-19 and to provide for testing and the human resources and to treat people. You know, when you have to buy oxygen every day and produce oxygen every day to have sufficient oxygen on standby in the event that somebody needs oxygen. And the mobilization of pharmaceuticals, medicines, you know, assigning doctors and nurses, employing scores of people to provide care to people. At one point, we had over 400 people in isolation government facilities, and 3 meals a day, plus people asking for afternoon tea and afternoon coffee and snacks. And we provided those things for many people, you know. So one has to appreciate those things and recognize that our expectations have to be tempered by the realities that this government is facing in terms of the extraordinary costs of managing COVID-19. You know, managing COVID-19. And it has been a huge cost, but we don't regret it. This is a responsible government. This is a government that cares for people and understands how Dominicans live and what we need to do to mobilize the resources to impact lives in a positive way. And we still continue to provide housing for people, building homes, fixing homes for so many people. Still to be able to provide grants to small businesses. We don't, and this is the problem with this government, always, that we don't speak enough of what we're doing for Dominica and Dominica. And it's almost a malady that we have, that we become shy to speak about and to explain to Dominican people the many things that are happening. And if we had to speak and to explain to Dominicans what's happening in this country, there are many people who would be in total awe. You know, and this bridge that we're building, they said we could have left one bridge. I know not many places in the world where you have two bridges crossing a river. There are countries in the world which are richer than us don't have a bridge crossing some rivers. But we have two bridges crossing the river. And I could have said, you know, this $8+ million, let's use it somewhere else. But I'm thinking, and the government is thinking, look, this is a main connection to the country. Yes, you could drive through Warner and come down through Layu Park there and go through to Portsmouth and so forth. You know, but recognize the importance of the second bridge, and we move ahead with the construction of the second bridge. And we are spending another $11 million between the Layu Bridge and the Yog Valley Bridge to increase and improve access to those communities. But there's so many things that happen in this country, you know, that I believe that we need to speak more about and explain to Dominican people what's happening, and to explain to you the challenges that we experience as a government, and in dealing with the circumstances present, that notwithstanding the dramatic decrease, at one point our revenues dropped, just for the VAT alone, by over 33%. Over 33%, but our expenditure increased dramatically. So your revenue dropped, expenditure increased. And notwithstanding the fact that our revenues dropped, we spend $3.8 million every month on the NEP. And not one month during this period, people got their monies late. Except one or two circumstances that are largely administrative. And then the 17 over allowances we have is going on. We continue to pay. We just paid a couple $1 million for students studying overseas. And we continue to provide for people who need tertiary care overseas in the tens of thousands, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just one person needed $110,000 to go overseas for medical care. What do we say to the people? Coronavirus, and we can't help you. And so we have to divert $110,000 that we're supposed to do for something else. Then we cannot let the grass grow and cover the roads. We have to cut the grass. And that is a lot of money to cut the grass. You may think it's a simple thing, and you think it's $200 we're paying people for the day. No. It's tens of thousands of dollars. You know, just to cut grass and to throw it. You know? So this thing, so let us understand, you know, where we are. But thank God we have experience in this country, running the affairs of Dominica. We know how government functions. We have relationships. We have been managing the CBI prudently, responsibly, ensuring that we adhere to the due diligence imperatives, and ensuring that our program can be sustained and it can impact the lives of Dominicans. And in the next weeks, you will see the commencement of several housing interventions, over 300 plus, utilizing the CBI funds in various communities. And I look forward to those who have been started. I know that the contract's been signed with many contractors, and we look forward to this and so on. So I want to thank you for the courtesy of listening to me and for all your calls and comments. We take all your comments in good spirit. This is our country. You have a right to speak. You have a right to express yourself. There's nothing more I love for people to express themselves to me. Tell me what's affecting them. Tell me what they would like to see happen in Dominica. Tell me what their priorities are. Tell me what they like of what's happening in Dominica, and what more can we do as a government, as a people, to move Dominica forward. And I say to you, I am super excited about 2022. I believe that the Lord has many good things in store for us. It's just a matter for us to work together towards the realization. I thank you. Let's go forth and serve our God and our country, and let us be true to our country. Let us speak well about our country. Let us promote our country. Let us be proud of our country. This is our country. And everything that all of us have, we got it because of Dominica. And we have to show gratitude for this. And how do you show gratitude? How do you show gratitude to our country? Have a wonderful week. And I want to thank you again for your calls. Back to school, February 2022, if all goes well. And of course, we are ushering in the piloting of the entertainment industry, so that our people can get back to work in a responsible and safe environment. Let's start with this and build on it, and eventually we can host jazz and quite possibly independence celebrations, including our coveted World Creole Music Festival. God bless you. Have a wonderful country. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. And if you're not vaccinated, get vaccinated. And if you have gotten vaccinated, get your booster shot. Especially if you are 50 years and older. And especially if you have an underlying health issue. Yes, they're saying that the Omicron is not as deadly as the Delta and so forth, but it is COVID-19 nonetheless. And let us protect ourselves from COVID-19. And let us do what we need to do and protect ourselves. It's absolutely important, parents, that we all want our children to go back to school, yes, but we should all get our children vaccinated. If you, the parent, don't want to get vaccinated, okay. It's not a wise decision, but okay. But do not extend it to your child. We have a duty as parents, as a community, to protect the vulnerable, to protect the helpless among us, our children. And we can't extend this thing to our children. We are going. Our children are coming. Our children are there. You know, once we have children, you know, we live in another life. We have to be mindful of our children, you know, and do what is right for our children. And I'm satisfied, all of us as parents would want our children to be safe. And in this circumstance, the scientists are saying to us what we need to do to help our children to be safe, in addition to wearing the mask and hand sanitizing, vaccination for the children. So God bless you, and I look forward to being with you next Sunday. And we have taken note of the concerns that you've raised, and certainly we'll follow up on your behalf and give you some public responses where necessary and some private responses where appropriate. God bless you. Thank you very much. A wonderful evening. Thank you. God bless.
Hi, my name is Mr. Benji, Cultural Ambassador and lead singer for TK International. COVID-19 has hit my livelihood very hard. No large crowds means no shows. No live performances means no zero. I want to get back to doing what I love, to what you love. Let's get back to 13. I can only get back on stage if we all take the vaccine. Get vaxxed. Mr. Benji said so.
Hi guys, my name is Adam Ford from Adam Songs. Honestly, it was a bit hard to come in and decided to take the vaccine. But when I think of everyone else and I think of the entertainment industry, I just had to decide, you know what, let me just take that chance and make that decision. So I just want to encourage everyone, that for some reason they want things to get back to normalcy, for whatever reason, I think they should take that chance and make that choice also.